The video a lot of people have been waiting for on the farm is the bee shed. What a neat thing we've finally decided to put in, somewhat because of necessity too. Here it is coming into the farm. It was built off-site by Woods Fabrication for us. He's just a wonderful person to help us out. He's helped us out with liens in the past. This is not the first version, but this is just a little bee shed, and hopefully we're going to be able to use it with proper ventilation and stuff to get through winter. You know, we're like any farm family. We have bees. And when you have bees in Minnesota, Canada, and so forth, it's cold. It's very, very cold. It's hard on the bees. Now, you certainly can send your bees south. I've done it. I've done Arkansas. I've done Florida. You can send bees south, but they tend to come back with heavy mite loads, wax, moths, and other issues too. So there's no perfect solution. Send them south. They come back home in great shape, or they come back home with bugs. Keep them over winter and store them properly, either outside or inside, and they either die or they do great. So the options are out there. This is an 8x15. I've got specialized doors on each side that roll up so that I can open it up and I can make it, breathe better. I'll be putting a ventilation system into it. A lot of different things are happening. At the beginning, though, it's really cold out. We're going to get it in place, and we're going to show you how we got it set up here for spring. I'd love to tell you that this April was easy for us. It sure as heck was not. Getting this pad in March was a little bit difficult. Getting it level, and then, of course, getting this on it here in April. Oh, what a mess. Regardless, then it warmed up in May, and we had some settling, so we had to do some readjustment and stuff with the pad. Had to get the earth anchors in and so forth, and then, fly by the seat of our pants to get the bees around it, get the equipment in it, and get stuff going. We're choosing to use new hives at this location here on the farm and not bring old hives in. So we're putting nukes in. I think 5 hives are on this building. And then obviously using the building itself for storing of equipment and so forth. In winter, we can pull the equipment. Hopefully I'll have the ventilation system in it by then. And if we need to, when it gets into the deep cold, after about December 15th, we can move the bees in here, keep them in here until March 1st, pull them outside and see if we can, nurse them through the spring cold like we had this April and see if we can get them through it. These buildings are nice because they're on skids, so you can move them, but that also somewhat creates a pain sometimes too. So that's just the way it goes. Cost of the project, I think we were into the building for somewhere in the higher 3s by the time I got done with materials and paying Ron for his labor. As far as inside goes, really not a lot of expense. Little sheeting here and there, running electric to it. I think electric was like $100 to pull it off one of the neighboring barns here and get it in. Schedule 80 in the ground and up the sides, and then get the UV wire in and get a 20 amp breaker running to this puppy, so to speak. So that wasn't the worst of the stuff to deal with. Putting frames in it and equipment stuff is surely but slowly coming along. You'll see it here in a few minutes. So this is kind of the winter shots. It went well into the spring. So I started shooting this video here in April. Well, as you know, it's like the 5th of June here, and I'm finishing the video. So what can I say? It's one of those videos that took a little bit. The kids love the honey, but I've got one daughter, Tabitha, who does a lot of work with it. So it's nice to have, when you have a larger family, it's nice to pick your strong points. Obviously, one of my daughters, Anna, is really good with the goats. I've got Julie on the chickens, and now I have Tabitha on this set of bees. It'll be a learning set for her. I'm sure we'll lose some, but we're going to try our best, folks. That's the way it goes on the farm. Producing honey is a challenge in the cold states. But to be fair, being I've spent time in Savannah, Georgia and San Antonio, Texas, in my veterinary career, it's difficult down there too, because bugs are year-round down there. It doesn't matter whether we're talking beetles or moths or we're talking mites. They've got to deal with things differently too. So we're also, as you can see, getting posts in, and that made it a little tricky too. You might ask, why am I got posts, and why am I trying to pull this shed right between posts? Well, the honest answer is simple. Bears. I deal with bears, and I deal with skunks, and I deal with coon. And sometimes the skunks and the bears get the best of the hives. So we strap hives down to the best of our ability to make it so that they can't take them apart as easily. And we try to put distance between the beehive and where the skunks will sit so they can't just sit there and, use my bees as bonbons after they kill them, because they seem to like that. Everybody's got a different method for doing that, folks. For me, it's been the electric. We'll run 2 higher wires, see if we can keep the bear off it. We'll run a low wire and see if we can keep the skunks out of it. Possum and coon are damn near impossible for me, but this is what we're doing. So we banged these posts in with the hammer. I've got several videos on the hammer. Banged them in right through the frost. Didn't give a rat's patooties. That thing just took these 6-inch posts, 8 feet long, and just pounded them into the ground. So that was fantastic. We have a gravel platform here, but it's not level at this point. You will see that it will become level. So don't pick on it too much. In about 3 or 4 frames here of video, we level it out. But you can see the inside there to the best of our ability. Here we are trying to get it moved into place and kind of get it shimmed up, and then again we'll get it more level. I chose to level it with concrete, great big pavers, and then I earth anchored it. I'm going to show you a little bit of earth anchoring here soon. It certainly turned out good. This building is facing north and south. I'm not going to face it east and west. East and west is my storms. East and west is most of my wind. Oh, there are those blocks for you there if you want to see how it kind of turned out. I don't want to make this a wind tunnel, but I do want to be able to cool it in the summer. I don't want it to be a sauna and melt things. And in the winter, being south would allow me to ventilate it easier, because I could push stuff out the north end as far as moisture. I could let sun in on the south end. So we got it in place. Got a lot of mud on things, including the skid steer here, but I'm really pleased with how it looks and how it went in. As far as equipment, I don't know, this farm's probably got 200 frames at least. I don't know how many hive boxes we've got. I don't know how many supers. I lose track sometimes, but we've got enough stuff where we need some storage. I'm going to take some great big turnbuckles, and after I drove into the ground, 5-foot, bull anchors, I'm just tighten these things up and pull it down as best I can. By the time I have all my bee stuff in here, this thing should weigh probably well over 3,000 pounds. But I got to tell you, folks, after having a tornado in 20 of August here on this farm, it was only a little F1, man, I am not interested in things moving. I'd rather have steel blow off of things before it moves, because it's really hard to recoup otherwise from those kind of things. So it's in place. We'll gravel it up. Oh, that's a hard, job. Because it's winter, my gravel's frozen. So you'll see the kids here working really hard to bust it free. We had to get going. Bees need to come out, and gravel had to move. And that went for trenching in the electric too. It was difficult. It was very difficult. My daughter here wants out of the picture. She doesn't want to be in it, but that's okay. She's doing her best here to dig in a trench line, and we're going to see if we can run that UV wire. Now that UV wire is in PVC, and then it'll come up with schedule 80 on each end, and we'll get it in place. We're going into one of our other barns. We're going to drop it into a 20 amp breaker slot with a cutoff switch, and it should work good. This will allow us to have ventilation inside. This will allow us to have lights, and it'll allow us to have a fencer. So the fencer's in place. We got an outlet in. I may put more outlets in the future, but I've got to get things up and running here for summer. So kind of time to get it done. On the other side of things, my little son there, Matthias, he's playing. Put my other son there, Grant. You've seen him in other videos, filling in a trench. Once we got the trench in, the ladies went to work right away on fencing up. We need to get this thing as secure as we can, because the minute you start sticking bees out, critters know about it up here, folks. Minnesota has a lot of lakes, has a lot of beautiful wildlife, but they know about it. So we're fenced up at this point. The electric's on. She's hot. I'm going to go up to this side of the building here. Got a couple little bird houses out here the kids made for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to, right on this end, we're going to drop our hives. That's our very next step. Obviously, when it comes to location for hives, everybody's got their secret. In Minnesota summer, it gets so hot with the beating down sun and stuff. I try to protect my hives. Inside, we're starting to haul supplies in. My daughter, Tabitha there, is starting to stack things. yes, I'll get her shelves, folks. We will get to that point at some point. It's not going to just be raw like this with things on the ground. But I need to get her a couple new hives in here and the supers in here. I got to get my syrup poured out and get the feeders going. Now, a lot of people don't do one-to-one syrup in the spring. I understand that. But in Minnesota, I just don't always get the dandelion bloom like I'd like. I fight the nasty weathers of May sometimes. And you know what? Again, if my bees have made it through winter, all I know how to do is feed them, folks. All I know how to do is just trying to keep them going. So I've got a one-to-one, sugar water here, all made up. I'm going to feed up 4 or 5 of these round circle feeders, and I'm going to get them in one of my supers and, or my deep hives, and we're going to get done. We're going to get these bees out there. This year, just because these are nukes, I will put in, I don't know what they call them, protein patties, pollen patties. You can label them however you want, but I am going to drop those into it too. And I think that'll really help out the bees. Everybody's got their secrets, folks. It's just the way it goes. Do what you feel comfortable with. This is not a video on how to manage bees. So I got some nukes for her, which are great. We're putting those in place here in the hives. You can see that we're doing our best. Obviously, I've got the mouse guards on these because of its location up here close to the wood line. That also helps me. Again, if a skunk gets past the hot, they have a real hard time of just reaching in and decimating the hives. So that's just the way we need to go. Doing our best here on the farm to get these hives in place, and try to make things work. The process of Tabitha learning how to work with these hives and manage them. Honestly, folks, when you take a child that's only 13 years old and teach her how to do bees, don't be surprised if you lose some. That's the name of the game. I don't have any other way around that. So as I kind of wrap up the video here and show you what we have and kind of make progress, you can see that we're putting in the nukes. We've got the feeders in place. We're really doing the best for her to set her up the best we can. I'd like her to have success, but yet on a farm, we talk about whether we will or won't have success. Because bees are a tricky creature. As far as the type of bees, I need cold hardy, so I put up with the attitude a little bit more, so you can see we're in the suits and so forth. They're the Russians. I need to get bees that can survive, folks. So this is how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you saw the progress and all the hard work we put into getting this shed. I think this little bee shed will work really great for Tabitha and her future endeavors. Appreciate you watching, folks. Enjoy, and I hope you have good success with your bees.